Anybody know what this is? If you're thinking it's the roller off a lawnmower, you're wrong. It's going to be a parts tumbler. Design in progress, so it'll probably end up nothing like I'm about to say, but this is my thinking. So I'm going to cut quite a large hole for a door. I thought it's quite a large barrel, I might as well have a large opening to get larger parts in there if I need to. Weld a couple of hinges onto it so that opens and closes. I'm going to drill all these, and then in the inside edge of here I'm going to put an overlapping strip of steel which should overlap the opening so I can put a seal on it. So when the door comes down, hopefully it'll seal and stop all the contents pouring out. So these are little drill holes, and I'll just basically spot weld it on all the way around. For supports on the side, dug out an old TV stand out the recycle bin. I'm thinking upside down like that somehow. We'll drill a hole, insert the bearing, and that should sit on the nose or the snub of the side of the barrel. And that gives me a reasonable platform height to work from for mounting a motor of some kind. So I'm not sure how I'm going to drive it yet, to be honest, whether it'll be a belt, which I've got an old washing machine belt or something like that, or if we'll have to direct drive it somehow. But yeah, not figured the motor bit out yet. I haven't even got a motor. I've got a broken washing machine, which yeah, if I can't fix that, I've got a motor. Blech. Juicy. I'm not sure if it needs a load of flippers in there or not. I'm going to start with a couple, I can always add more later if I need to. These are just old radiator hangers. I'm just going to drill a couple of holes and bolt them to the side from the inside. It's just easier than welding, I think. I'm not sure if it was good timing or bad timing, but last week our washing machine conked out again. I've been keeping it alive for years, and we've actually decided to replace it. I say I had a couple of faults, one of which was the bearing. So the bearing in the motor had actually gone, so it was really noisy and it was overheating and starting to smell of burning. So I've been and fetched another bearing from a place in Sheffield, so hopefully we can fit it in the motor, and then we've got a usable, powerful motor to turn the barrel. While I was at the bearing company, also got a couple more. These are for the ends of the barrels on the nose, so the barrel spins nice and smoothly. These lot unfortunately came to £21 in total. There were £7 each, but yeah, needs must. You also went on eBay and bought a variable speed controller. I got one of the more expensive ones. This one was actually 15 quid delivered. Beware, for the second time this year I bought from a UK seller. No mention of foreign plugs or non-UK plugs, and it turned up with that on it. having a slight redesign. We're getting somewhere. So I've got a couple of feet. The feet are connected by a couple of lengths of threaded bar. And then obviously I've mounted the motor onto that threaded bar. I do have a belt which hopefully is short enough to go around the motor and then around the barrel, which will be above it. I've got to measure carefully to make sure that there's enough distance between the barrel and the motor to keep it tight. So I'm going to have to be really careful when measuring that. These need welding on, the uprights. They will have a thin slice of tube, so I'll cut a thin slice off, and that effectively will become my bearing retainer. I'll weld it on the side here, and then the bearing will sit in there, and then between the two pillars will be the barrel. Trying to get the height for the tension on the belt right. I've not got enough hands. Any more, it's starting to twist the frame, so we'll go at that. I'm just going to put another threaded bar across the middle there, just to try and keep the two pillars vertical. Got me a couple of bearing retainers. So we've got the nose of the barrel, I've got the bearing, we're putting a little clip on there, and that'll be going into the bearing retainers here. I've had to create some little spacers. They're just 6mm spacers using slightly smaller diameter pipe, so go inside there, just so it sits on the outside of the bearing, and that'll stop the nose from rubbing on the inside and hopefully the whole thing moving sideways as well. Right, let's get this thing built. So we've got our motor. I built a little dust cover just to make sure it's not getting covered in grit and sand, hopefully. That shows in theory to click on. As you can tell, I've been painting. The only spare bit of paint I had was a random purple spray can, which came purple, it should have been brown. So it was a bit of a freebie because I went back and got the right colour. Which is a speed controller. So I've mounted that to a little plate, made a little hook, and that instead should hook over and click in place, he says, in theory. There we go. Fortunately I've run out of paint, so looks like a right purple monster. Yeah, one purple parts tumbler. Just going to sort out the electrics now. I think we wired it up wrong. Made some flashy lights and a bit of smoke, and now it's not working. Dope. Everything kind of checks out with the motor, apart from this little coil circuit in the end here. I'll be honest, I'm not sure what it does, but I don't think it's essential for how I'm using the motor at the minute. So I'm just going to continue and hopefully power the correct circuit up this time. We should be good to go, all being well. Oh yeah. Oh. That's the scariest thing I've done today. Right, I just want to clean out the barrel first of all because it's full of all black, gritty, yucky rust and stuff from years of being full of water as a barrel for a lawnmower. I was planning to use some grit stuff I've got, which is glass based. So it's what you use for sandblasting, so it doesn't break down to silica and cause health issues. But I can't find it. I think it's in my pit of doom. So basically I'm going to get some of this grit. I'm going to chuck a couple of them in just to try and clean the barrel out. It's a bit damp, so I'm going to chuck them in. I have a little dry moisture out of them as well. Trying to get constant speed is interesting when I get weight in it. Too fast. But right, we've got a bit of a failure of design with the tumbler. So basically the washing machine motor used is far too powerful. It spins at a massive RPM. And when you slow it down to the point where it just chugs over the barrel, and it does that okay, it's just on the edge. It's just on the edge of enough power to make it chug the barrel over, but if it picks up any momentum, so if you get a bit of centrifugal force on the sand inside and it sticks to the side, it starts going off like a washing machine, and which is quite hairy when it's a full barrel of sand. So my options really are to gear that down further, which is quite tricky really without a gearbox, because the pulley on it is quite small to start with. So there is the option of gearbox, but that's obviously an expensive option, so I'm being a tight ass and building all this for next to nothing, or at least that's the plan, looking for other things. But what I'm keen to try first of all is this monster, which is actually a lot bigger than I remembered it till I got it out of the bag a minute ago. This used to power a really old-fashioned circular saw my granddad's, and it's literally been sat in his garage since before, I think, 1986, when unfortunately passed away. The garage has been full of water for at least half that time, and I pulled it out this year. No, it still spins vaguely freely. Yeah, it does spin freely. So I'm going to give this one a try first of all. I'm going to wire it up because there's no plug on it in a minute. So I'm going to keep my gloves on and we're going to wire this one up. From what I was told, it didn't spin that fast. Although looking at the size of the thing, we shall see. Plan B. So I'm just basically mocking the motor up in place before I make any mounts or anything, because I don't want to modify everything and find it doesn't actually work. Biggest thing I've spotted so far is because it's so much rounder, it actually hangs low. So it hangs a lot lower than the washing machine motor does, to keep tension on the belt. So if I do mount this on, I'm going to have to raise the legs up on little feet or something just by about an inch to make sure the belly doesn't hit the floor. Fingers crossed. I'm making a cradle which will sit underneath the motor, so I'm going to use quite thick, hefty washers to attach on the sides here, so they should go on the threaded bar to hold it in place, and that'll basically hang underneath, because the motor's bigger and it's got the feet underneath there, so it's going to hang down. But I've actually done the cradle so it hangs further down than it needs to, which gives me a little bit of adjustment. So I'm going to go for that 10mm adjustment further down should I need a bit more tension on the belt, and I'm just going to probably space that out with a few washers. Got my cradle, let's give it a try. We are rocking and rolling, quite literally. So the new motor doesn't want to overspin, so it's absolutely perfect for this job. I've got a couple of little niggles I need to sort out, which is the bolts in the cradle are a little bit short, so I'd like to reduce the tension on the belt a little bit. And I can't do that because I've not got enough length in the bolts, so I'm going to take those off and replace them, but they're welded on, so I have to slip it off again. Because of that, because it's very tight, it's trying to walk the belt off the end of the motor. It only just comes off, but I don't have enough adjustment to stop that. So it's a temporary measure. I put a jubilee on there. I'm going to leave it running for an hour or so now. I want to clear all the corrosion and nastiness out of the barrel. We'll drop out the pebbles out of there, and then we'll get the proper stuff in, and we'll put some parts in and give it a try. But I think that might have to be in another video now, because I've been fiddling with this for 3 weeks, and it was only meant to be a quick thing. See you soon, guys. Take care.